Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Gray here. Welcome back to a live stream. I haven't done this in like a minute, so I'm gonna try to get situated here, and then we'll hop into the main topic of discussion with the stream. How's everything looking? Let's see. It's got a little bit of a delay on it, so I know I'm gonna be playing this back as a VOD, and I'm gonna leave this up on the channel. We'll try to do a few of these a month, just answer questions about finance, talk about different subjects, things like that. But let me see here. Let's see. Oh, that's crisp. Like a minute. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cusco. Cusco's poison. Poison for Cusco. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Howdy. If y'all are just joining, say what's up in the chat. How's everyone doing? I'm gonna see if I got this set up right. It's been a minute since I've live streamed. I haven't actually streamed in like what feels like a long time. It's probably been close to a year since I've actually been on a live stream before. Let's see. Lauren, is it looking good? Yeah. Okay. We just didn't say anything. Oh, there you go. What's up? You just hate me and want me dead.
The background look okay? Do I need to tidy up?
It's all right. Just know this is going to be on YouTube forever. Let's see. See, I'll hop into actually doing the stream here in a sec. I just want to make sure I'm like set up properly and all that, just because I haven't done this in a minute. But let's see. What are you giggling at?
I got worried that the background might look messy, so I put a stuffed animal on the floor.
That is pretty funny. I just see it on the background. That's funny. All right. Well, all right. Let's go ahead and kind of hop into the stream and see everything. So, this main stream is going to be about reaching 100K by 25. And so I'm actually going to turn off this background music. Anyway, yeah, so that's what this stream is going to be about, is my goal of hitting a 100K net worth by the age of 25. And it's going to be difficult. It's going to take some, stretch goals to get started. Wait, select stream, refresh. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay, so 1 concurrent viewer, 2 views. There we go. Okay, cool. So yeah, I kind of want to go over a couple things. I'm going to go over my budget and just kind of how I'm getting there, where all my money is being allocated, so we can get an idea of what I'm working with and how that's actually going to push me to hit that 100K net worth. And so for me, this has kind of been a goal that I set probably about 6 months ago. But the actual time frame of it, I didn't set until pretty recently. And so for me, it's been important that I focus on hitting this because it's kind of building a foundation. You don't want to go and kind of overstretch yourself by doing all these different buckets. There's a saying that I talked about in one of my videos that millionaires have 7 different income streams. And I think what people really fail to realize is that with those income streams, typically they get to that point after they've already maxed out one. So they focus on one income stream and they really build it up. You don't immediately become a millionaire. You make money as time goes on. And so it's a process, I think. There is a little bit of luck involved. There can be, you're actually focusing on trying to hit that 100K net worth. But for me, at least, what I've noticed is that small, consistent growth has really helped catapult me into really building this. And I think it's what is allowing me to get to that 100K net worth by 25. So if you don't know right now, I'm 22. My birthday's in March. And so I should hit a 100K net worth by 2028. And so for me, I don't know if it's going to work. This is just the goal. This could happen sooner. It could happen later. Realistically, I just want it to happen eventually, and I want to be striving for this goal, because if I'm not striving for it, I may never hit it. So, Lauren, how's it looking? Is the chat does it look okay?
Yeah, it looks great.
It looks great. That's good.
You have a square sun behind you.
I do have a square sun. That's funny.
Minecraft.
Minecraft. Let's see. Oh, I accidentally opened Steam. That's my fault. That's my fault. That's my fault, gang. Jarvis, no. Oh, that's probably putting some in task. Okay, there we go. My bad, gang. My bad, cuh. All right, so yeah, we'll continue to hop in here real quick. So yeah, to continue. So a few things I want to go over in today's live stream is going to be, I want to go over kind of my strategy for all this. I want to go over specifically what I'm doing, how I'm tracking my net worth, what I consider to be a part of my net worth, what to me is actually like important to focus on, given my age. So for me, if you're a little bit older or even a little bit younger, your strategy could be totally different from mine, given to hit this goal. But I think obviously there's a saying specifically by Charlie Munger that the first 100K, I kind of censor it because the first one was a little more flamboyant, but the quote is, your first 100K sucks, and then after that it gets a little bit easier because you now have an army of dollar bills that's actually working for you, and the compound growth is hard to quantify. And so I want to talk about this. And today I'll walk you through the income streams that I have, my monthly budget, investing, where I'm putting all my money, some business goals. I don't always count those in my net worth, but it is going to be a contributing factor in 100K to $1 million, and then how I'm stacking consistent wins even on a modest income. I do want to preface this whole stream with, I know I'm very blessed for the situation that I'm in. I do think I've worked very hard for it, and I don't want to take away from the fact that I have kind of worked pretty hard to get here. But I do understand I'm in a very blessed situation, both with the place where I'm living and the income that I have, the people I'm around. I'm very blessed for that. So, first, I want to talk about how I track and grow my net worth. So I didn't actually start tracking my net worth till probably around the time I got married. Before then, it was just kind of investing when I could. And then a little bit before I got married, I really started, looking into this money stuff and really caring about it and really focusing on the fact that I wanted to do well in personal finance. And so for me, it ended up happening where now I've gotten it down to the point where just over, a year and a half later, I'm tracking it down to the penny every single month, how well I'm actually doing. Let me check this real quick. Let's see. Ugh. All right. So yeah, my net worth. Let's see here. So yeah, with my net worth, so tracking it, I've now gotten it down to the point where I track my assets, my savings, my brokerage. I do have a little bit of crypto, Roth IRA, and my 401k. And so let me see if I can throw it up on the screen here real quick. Um, Hold on, let me. There we go. All right. So yeah, there we go. All right, transition. There we go. Let me just official streaming right here, guys. Perfect. So yeah, as you can see, I'm on the small little box here. So yeah, this is just July's kind of breakdown right now of how things are looking, and it doesn't fully update yet. I haven't. I'm gonna be honest. This past week, I haven't really been keeping up with it as much as I should be. But it's just kind of my budget tracker, my bills, all that kind of stuff. And so we love getting rich young. Absolutely, we do. I can hear you giggling back there after saying that. Why do you have the tablet flipped out like that? Yo, that's crazy. Anyway, and so yeah, specifically what I want to focus on is over here on the net worth section for right now. We'll go over more of this budget stuff here later, but for now I want to focus specifically on the net worth section. And so we'll start here, or something. So we'll start here. So assets at the start of this month here in July was 8,459. At the end of the month so far, it's still the same. And so for me, what that means is nice pie chart. Thank you. And so the
You looked at me.
I did. And so what that means is my assets have not gone up. In terms of cars, this really is just my cars. So it's the Kia Sportage and a Hyundai. What do you have? A Sonata? Elantra? What do you have?
I don't know. I think
She has a Hyundai. It's terrible. It's an awful car. Um, so this number probably isn't accurate. It's just kind of what I'm guessing I can get. I will say in the 100K journey, and I think I talked about this in the video as well, I have capped the asset range to be 10,000. I will not count anything over that because technically I have a camera setup. I've got computers. I've got monitors. I've got cameras. I've got a drone. I've got like a bunch of stuff. What's up, Seth? Autism. Hello, man. How you doing? Oh, I love that you're here. That's awesome. Thank you. It's so good. Oh, this is so fun. Anyway, yeah. So I don't really see my assets going over 10,000. And if they do, I'll just stop counting it against my net worth. I'll just limit it at 10,000 up until I hit 100K, and then I'll kind of reevaluate. But for right now, yeah, that's where I'm kind of putting it, is at that $8,459, because on Kelly Blue Book, that's kind of what it says. Granted, I got a new engine in my Kia, so there's a few things that it doesn't fully count yet. But so yeah, that's just where it's at. It doesn't really change month over month. I think here in January, it was, yeah, we got the car, I think in January. And so, oh, you did, my bad. Yo. Yeah, so I probably won't. We're making pretzels. Dude, you're making pretzels? Wait, like the doughy kind? Like crunchy kind? Do you like your pretzels doughy or crunchy?
I like the soft pretzels.
You said crunchy in the chat? Okay. So yeah, then we'll move to, let's go back. There we go, July. And then we'll move on to savings. And so specifically our savings account, it went from $11,283.77 to $11,350. And so I want to be as transparent here as I can. That's a lot of savings. We've been very blessed in this area. And so at least in this, I want to keep healthy cash. So after 100K, I've kind of decided that after 100K, I probably won't. I will probably lower the amount of cash that I'm saving depending on the goal that I'm going after at the time. because there's a level of you want to have enough cash on hand to float you through any, emergency fund or any type of disaster or any type of, if you need to replace a car, soft, hard, outside hard, inside soft.
Oh, so like crispy.
Oh, okay. So crispy, so crunchy. Yeah. So for me, at least, I like having a healthy amount of cash. 11,000 is roughly 3 or 4 months of an emergency fund, but it's split up in a few different ways. We have some in a car fund. We have some in a baby fund of we're trying to save up to have a healthy amount set aside for anything that the baby might need or need to happen. And then we have our rent fund, and then we probably here in a little bit we'll start saving for a house. And so just having that amount of savings, there's probably a limit. I will say we'll get to my projections here a little later on, but for what I'm seeing, I probably don't see this until I hit 100K net worth going over 20 or 25,000. Just because after 25,000, unless you're saving for a big purchase like a house or maybe a nicer car or a business or something like that, you're losing the power of time and compound growth by keeping that money in cash, where if you're not looking to buy a house or anything for 5 to 10 years, you might as well just throw that into like an ETF or index fund or something like that, so that you're getting the power of compound interest on your side, not just a high yield savings account, which we might actually see that go down. I did think about, I might make a live stream about this at some point, about having about talking about the federal deficit and interest rates and all that kind of stuff with Jerome Powell and all that. But anyway, so we'll move on to the brokerage. That checks out given how much McKenna likes her Auntie Anne's. Heck yeah. Who doesn't like Auntie Anne's, though? I like the cinnamon ones. But yeah, so we'll move on to my brokerage. So this is just split up. I own VOO and VXUS, which I should have a video coming out here soon. My editor is just really pretty. Did I say it myself?
That feels like there was something else that was supposed to go there.
Yeah, so
How about your editor is 37 weeks pregnant?
she is 37 weeks pregnant. My bad. Anyway, so yeah, brokerage. So my brokerage is split up between VOO and VXUS. So I have large cap coverage, and then I also have international. And both have been performing delightfully at this point, but I just don't have a lot in it. And so from what I've noticed, when I get to 100K, and it's going to start on my way to 100K, but I'm not really going to see the difference until I hit that 100K mark. I'm going to change I think I'm going to change my liquidity, like my contributions in certain areas. So whatever I don't put into cash, I think I'm going to reevaluate how much I put into my brokerage, because one big issue I'm seeing is that getting to that retirement age, if you don't want to retire at 59 and a half or 65 or somewhere in between there, and you want to retire a little bit earlier, there has to be a liquidity event, and that can be costly. But if you have a taxable brokerage that has been growing over time, you can just pull from that taxable brokerage and continue to let the tax-free growth happen in an account like a Roth IRA. And so for me, I really want to build up this brokerage to see if I can get it to the point where I can pull from that instead of any retirement savings or anything like that. It also would help as a brokerage to save up for things like a house. As I said, it might be 5 or 10 years before we're actually looking at purchasing a home. And stay tuned because I'm sending him TikToks to react. Yeah, I do want to do a live stream, and I probably will also make these into videos. I'm keeping these as VODs on the channel, and so I know I like listening to live streams and stuff in the background. So if you guys do enjoy that, let me know. I don't want to flood the channel too much with this, but I really enjoy making content, and this also helps a lot with YouTube. So if you guys are enjoying it, by the way, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that crap. It helps Lauren. Lauren really cares about all the metrics. Ain't that? Yeah. But yeah, so subscribe. And then in BTC, as you can see, I started putting a little bit of money into it. I put $25 in, and it's gone up a little bit. BTC is Bitcoin. I have money in Bitcoin. I probably will never let this exceed more than 3% of my net worth. Mr. Wonderful, well, he got, I guess, the strategy from his mom. But overall, it's a very wise strategy. Don't ever let any one sector hold more than 20% of your entire net worth. And that includes cash and Bitcoin. I don't know how I feel about cryptocurrencies yet. I 500. I also know that I spent more money on Juicy's hamburgers today than I did in Bitcoin, and so I obviously am comfortable lighting that money on fire. And so I think that's what makes it okay for me to just put money into Bitcoin. For me, I will probably be putting, 75 or $100 a month because, quite frankly, that is what I would be okay with lighting on fire every month because I've spent more on eating out and I've spent more on just random crap throughout my life and throughout the months. And so might as well get a little bit of return. I don't want to do what these crypto bros are doing where they put their entire life savings into this on a risk because quite frankly, cryptocurrency is at the point now where it just hit 120,000 for Bitcoin. I don't see it going past maybe 250,000. I think maybe it could, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. And so even if I put, all of my savings, all 11,000 into cryptocurrency and it doubles, cool, I have 22,000 that's still not life-changing money, so why would I risk it? That's kind of my thought process behind it. But I do think that over time, it should build up. And I'm in it for the long haul, just like any other investment. I don't really feel I'm going to pull out of this at the very least for 10 years, but let alone like retirement, of course, that's going to go forever. Bitcoin, it's going to go for a long time. So for me, I really just think I'm going to sit here and I'm going to just focus on just growing my portfolio. And Bitcoin, I think keeping it under 3% of my overall net worth. I mean, right now it's 0.07% of my net worth. So I do think that keeping it that low isn't why, like, it's not really benefiting me at all. I make more money off of my like high yield savings account than I would in Bitcoin. So there has to be a level of you have to put something in to get something out, but I don't want to risk it too much because it could always go to zero. I do like, I probably will do a live stream specifically talking about the blockchain, cryptocurrency, things like that. But for right now, I think I'm just going to focus on building up that portion to be a reasonable amount. And I mean, as years go by, if you're adding, $1,200 a year into that, I do think there will be a point where it's just going to be a part of my portfolio, a few thousand. And if it goes up, down, and in circles, it doesn't really matter. But what percent interest is your high yield savings? It is 3.8% right now with the feds and everything. Also, it's our high yield savings.
Shh, don't let them know.
They don't have to know. Yeah, so it's 3.8%.
I also just didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know? No.
I forgot.
All right, we'll make a YouTube video on how to talk to your spouse about money. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love you. Okay. She's about to throw a shoe at me. Anyway.
She has to say that.
And then we'll move on to the Roth IRA, which this I've been building for I think 3 years now. It started at $14,039.54, and now it is $14,361.09. And so I put in so far this month, I put in $200. Grayson told me to invest in his new coin. Yes, I 100% did. My new coin is going to be called a Voda coin. Be sure to invest in that. It's going to be a rug pull. I'm going to take all your money. Called Grayson, a.k.a. Gazin. Gayson? Oh, shut up. Shut up, Seth. I misread it. Anyway. Anyway. So, yeah, Roth IRA. It's been going up pretty consistently. I love Roth IRAs. I've made plenty of content on it, different playlists and stuff like that. So definitely check those out. But Roth IRAs, I think, are great, especially the younger you are. You're definitely going to be, you can almost guarantee you're going to be in a lower tax bracket now than you will be when you retire. And so specifically, I love Roth IRAs because it just allows for that tax-free growth. And so I really like focusing on that. And it's got such a low contribution limit. I've been trying to max it out. I maxed it out last year. I'm on track to max it out this year. And I even have enough cash where I could max it out immediately next year. And when I continue to do that, I'm going to block you. No, bruh. Unless. But yeah, and then I also have a 401k. Now, this is new. This is a new thing for me. I haven't really had a 401k before. I got this with my job where I work, and they offer this. They do a match for me, which I think if you have a match at your company, please take advantage of it. I think this is an absolutely fantastic thing that people need to take advantage of, because I think it goes missed. I've met a lot of people specifically at my work who they think they need more the money now. It's more important that I get the cash now and I can utilize it better. And then they just end up spending it on crap they don't need. That's just what I've observed. That's what I've noticed throughout my career. And what I've really noticed is that 3,000, I haven't put any extra money into. I've only put up to the contribution, and it's added an extra 3,000 to my thing, to my net worth, and over half that would not exist if I wasn't doing that. And so I would be $1,500, $1,800 behind where I could be if I didn't do that. And I agree, Lauren. Like and subscribe. Check it out down below. Hit the buttons. Anyway, so yeah, and it goes up a few $100s every month. It goes about $400 to $500 a month, depending on how well I do on things like my bonus and things like that, which is a little crazy to me. That just feels like a lot of money for just working. And I don't think I've fully adjusted to the actual income that I'm at. But for me, I just think it's really, really awesome to have that as an option. And so for me, at least, I try to utilize 401k match, Roth IRA, and then I start putting into brokerages and little investments kind of like that. And you can kind of notice it. Did you just delete his message? Oh, my gosh. You're all powerful, Lauren. But yeah, so that's kind of how my net worth is broken down. My total net worth is $37,972.32 as it stands of right now. And so I kind of want to continue to talk about this as I go back, and I want to talk about how I invest as a beginner. And I say beginner kind of loosely. Obviously, I have a get caught, Seth. Did you kick him?
No, I had just deleted his message.
Oh, okay. My concurrent do is my 401k. I do a target date fund. And what that means is that I am currently 22. I was born in 2003. I plan on retiring around, 2065, I think is what it was. I probably should have known this before I made a live stream about it, but whatever. Yeah, I plan on retiring around 2065, within 5 years of that date. My entire frame's just dropped.
Yeah, you started buffering.
Stream lagging. Is it a little better now? Don't fully know why it started lagging. I just looked and it had dropped. I think Steam opened for a second, but I don't fully know why. Is it better now? How we looking? It's been good now. Screenshot Seth being nice. Exactly, screenshot. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. So, so I am in a target date fund. I'm in the same thing for my Roth IRA. My main goal with both of these accounts is I really want to focus on really aggressive growth here in the beginning, and then it kind of dials off as I go on and I get closer to retirement age. And so for me, I really like that. And it's important to me that you understand what you're investing in. For me, I understand target date funds. All it is it puts you in certain things at a certain age. And as you get to your retirement age, it evens out. So it's a little more conservative so that you can pull more consistently and it's not going up and down and up and down. It tries to stay as steady as possible so you get a consistent amount out of it. But at least in those early days, it gives you that very aggressive growth so that you can make good headway. And so you'll typically see a higher return, 12 to 13% in the first 20 years. And then those last 20 years, it balances back down to 9 to 10%, typically for most target date funds. They really only became popular somewhat recently. And I say recently in terms of, the things I want to comment that YouTube would have instantly banned me for. Dude, what? What are you going to say? So that's just kind of the things I'm investing in terms of my 401k and my Roth IRA is specifically target date funds because it just simplifies the whole process. I don't have to go in and individually pick things, but for me, I really just like the simplicity of it. It does switch to bonds a little bit faster than I like, but at the end of the day, I'm still putting way too much money in to not be able to retire at the very end, so I'm not really concerned with that. And then when it comes to my brokerage, as I said, I'm in VOO and VXUS. And so both of those, VOO is what I highly recommend if you're on Vanguard. Personally, I love Vanguard just because of the low fees. I don't really care about the interface and how the app looks and all that. I just want low fees. That's all I want. I want to keep as much as of my money in my pocket as possible because it's my money. Stop touching it. Miss YouTube. I agree. You are Miss YouTube. You're fantastic. And so yeah, for me, I want to focus on VOO. Uh, I'm much heavier in VOO. It's large cap stocks, and really all VOO is just tracking the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies in the United States. And then our cats are making biscuits. Yo, that's cool. Is it what's your cat's name? Shadow? Sniffles?
Smokey and all.
Smokey. That's right. The one with the little stash. Anyway, and then I'm also in VXUS, which is international stocks. VX meaning everything but the United States. And I just use this as kind of like my kind of hedge against certain things because there are seasons, and I'm sure I will expect this in my investment journey. There are going to be times where the international actually outperforms the United States. Not as a whole, or sorry, it will do it as a whole. Not necessarily individual countries, though. Canada hasn't really seen it's not really going up. Certain markets is like by themselves. Shadow, I don't know, man. Like Sonic. Yeah, that's my bad. I couldn't remember your cat's name. The Latina lover. Wasn't that like my gaming handle for a little bit? I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding.
you're literally lying.
I know it's funny. And he's saying it anyway. And then Bitcoin, of course, just for fun. And then savings, I have in a high yield savings account. But that's really my investment strategy. Is simple, to the point. Okay, bye. We gotta watch it. Leave me on in the background. I'm just kidding. I'll see you later, man. Have a good night. And yeah, so for me specifically, I just want simple growth over my lifetime. I just want to be able to put money in, get out there with the G. Yo, Grant? Is that Grant? Hey, yo. Hold on, let me go to your channel. Hey, yo, what's up, Grant? How you doing, buddy? How's cousin camp? Did you have fun at cousin camp? Anyway, so yeah, where was I? I think I was finishing up the investment side. And then part of the net worth part, I don't really count the micro market business, but I did just kind of want to touch on it in this stream because for me, I think it's definitely part of how I'm going to reach that net worth, but I'm not going to count it, if that makes sense. Obviously, I might be able to get a little something out of it without Zayden's permission. Of course, I will not be doing that. But the vending business specifically, we've kind of migrated from the point now. Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, we've kind of migrated from the point now where we're not really doing vending machines at this point. We've now moved closer to micro markets, and the difference between them is vending machines are going to do those snacks, those drinks, chips, candy bars, sodas, all that kind of stuff. But micro markets are kind of like the things in airports, where it's kind of like a convenience station but with no employees. And so for us, we're focusing on CrossFit gyms at the moment just because it's just kind of the model we landed into. We have a lot of wholesale. I have a gaming channel now. You have a gaming channel? Are you playing like Warzone or what kind of stuff are you playing? That's cool. You should you have my number. You should text me a link. I will go sub to your gaming channel. Because that's awesome. Are you playing Fortnite? I have a delay on the stream, by the way, Grant. So if you answer my question, then it looks like it takes a second because I have a delay. But yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So with the micro market, it's kind of like having a convenience store without actually having an employees. And so because we've been focusing more on the CrossFit gym, we've just kind of developed this catalyst of. We have different brands that we work with. We have Jocko. We have, Element. Element's been a huge seller and things like that. And so we've really grown from where our vending machines might have made, $50 to $250 a month. Now our micro markets are averaging $800 to $1,000 a month in revenue. Whoa. Gaming with G Minecraft Hardcore Part 2 out Thursday. Heck yeah. G, if you got your phone or if you want to have your mom do it, I can't remember if you have my number or not. But text me a link on my phone and I'll check it out. Zayden. Oh god. Man, I got 3 baby mamas and 4 kids paying 25. I don't think I can read this out loud, Zayden. I don't think I can read this out loud. Do you do DoorDash, Zayden? Or in this makeup scenario, do you have like a fake name I need to reply to? How can I make my money right so I end in the red every month? You want to have a 4th baby mama? Do you want to come work at a car wash? That's really how you turn your life around. Personally, no. Okay, well, I'll continue with the micromarket and the vending machine. So yeah, the micromarket specifically at this point, we are focusing on copy and pasting the same business model instead of just reinventing the wheel. And I've thought about making more content on this because I think a lot of business owners at this point, they just focus on the next best thing. They keep focusing on trying to come up with the next heavy hitter when realistically, consistency, I think, is how you seriously scale your business. And I've noticed that with us is I'm not reading that. You misspelled out loud, so I will not be reading that. Yeah, so with the micro market business, instead of, we have one in a CrossFit gym and now we have 2 in a CrossFit gym. If we get another one, I want to focus on keeping it in the gym. I don't want to, split off to be in some other thing. I want to actually focus on the fact of gyms are where we're at. Gyms is where we know our product, we know our customer base, we know how it all works. So I want to keep it there. And I think eventually it's good to branch out. You're going to run out of gym. At least for us, we're going to run out of gyms in our area. And it's going to mean, it's going to be better for us to actually move on to airports or apartment buildings or whatever it might be. And so I think for right now, though, I want to focus on, bro, I ain't playing. Your message got deleted. I'm sorry. My mods are just on top of it, man. I don't know what I can really do. My mods are just on top of that. You'll have to maybe resend the message, but it might get deleted. I don't know. My mods, popping off.
Send it, see what happens.
Lauren just said, "Send it, see what happens." Mods be modding. But yeah, so with the micromarket business, there's no accurate way to tell how much the business is actually worth unless you actually go to sell it, or you pay a third-party service to actually evaluate your business. I can, however, loosely estimate that the business as a whole is worth about $35,000 if you do not include the debt. That probably would bring it back down to about $25,000, given the processes, the wholesale, the tax ID, cash on business, assets, inventory systems, just all that. Now, my share of that is 65%. So, again, I don't really know how to count the business if it goes up, but given the the profit multiplier and all these other things, I would guess it would probably be worth, after you take out the debt, $25,000, and then whatever 65%. He typed it again, Lauren. My mods better get to modding. It was immediate too. That's fun. What message?
I don't see it. Crazy.
Zayden, be careful. How am I supposed to get ahead with they taking all my money? I texted you. Oh, you did. Let's see. Let me check this out. I can't watch it on stream or else YouTube, I think, will get upset. There you go. I subscribed and I dropped a like. Oh, you got all the cousins in this one. Gee, I heard Sweet Pea, I think is what her name is in the family vernacular now. But I heard she's not allowed to join cousin camp until she turns 5. And I just need to know, did you come to this consensus or did everyone else come to this consensus and you agreed? Because I'm just saying, by the time she's 5, you'll be like 20. I'm just saying, man. Bro, that's crazy. Ban me? No, wait, no, it's Hayden. Don't ban Zayden. He's my only friend. Um, just mute him like a normal person. So yeah, when it comes to the micro market business, when it comes to my 100K net worth, I'm not gonna count it in the 100K, but it is something to consider. I don't. Another thing to note is I don't take anything out. I don't take anything out of the business besides the money laundering that I'm doing, and the things I'm stealing off of Zayden's cut because the business isn't real. I just want him to send me money every month. I don't take money out of the business. I'm actually putting about $200 a month into the business, and so I don't make anything yet. I will say we are profitable. We are. Lauren said that I do not associate, or Lincoln said that I don't associate. That's funny. All right, good to know. Good to know. I'm glad to know that was the other cousins. Thank you. But yeah, so with the micro market business, we don't take anything out. However, we are profitable. We are making money besides these stupid fees. We are actually making something on paper at the end of the day. We are reinvesting everything, which is an important thing to note. We aren't just sitting on this capital, which I think is part of the reason we're not taking it out. My main goal is to get to the point where Zayden and I can make the income we make now based on the business that we have built, because it would positively affect our lives to be able to, quit the business, quit our jobs, focus on the business, and really pursue it based on our skills. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want to be doing. I want to be doing YouTube. I want to be doing Avoda, and I don't really want to be working in a city an hour, commute in the heat all day. I just don't. I would much rather be doing this, and that's I think why we're working so hard at this. We just got our brand new machine, but this stream is about 100K net worth. I will not be counting that in that, but I will say after 100K, if I do, when I do make those videos in a few years, I probably will start to consider the micro market business, because it hopefully in 3 years will be to the point where it actually be yielding something, whether that's in a profit share or if we're selling it or if we're starting to be our business. Can I put 365 on blast here? Absolutely, you can. I'm gonna put 365 on blast. I hate that company. Anyway, and so that brings me to my next thing: what I cut from my budget to save faster. And so we'll go back to my budget really quick, and we'll kind of go back over here to the budgeting category. Actually, hold on. Let me move my face cam real quick so y'all can see a little bit more of my budget. So yeah, this is we'll go back to last month's budget so y'all can kind of see. Actually, let's do May's. May's was pretty good, so y'all can actually see. Actually, May's was terrible. Never mind. My bad. I guess it doesn't really matter which month you see. It's just we're not done for this month. Dude, you have emojis? I forgot we did that. I need to get the custom emojis up here. I think that'd be funny. But anyway, so we'll kind of focus on this month, and I'll just go line by line. Things like this are going to change every single month. It's obviously gotten, if we go back to January, it's gotten a lot longer in terms of how much is here, because it gets more in depth and life changes and things like that. But for me, my main focus right now is trying to be as detailed and as accurate as possible, so that I can learn what I might need to cut back on. And so to start, good night. I have ARC videos to watch. Alrighty, G. See you later. The first thing to start is going to be housing. So for me, $1,250 is my budgeted. That's my rent. Is all bills paid, internet, electric, everything. And then my actual amount is $500, and that just means so far I put $500. I still have another check coming in, and so yeah, we can basically at this point we can just ignore the actual column, just since the month's not over. But I want to focus specifically on the budgeted amount, because as you can see right down here at the bottom, I've budgeted 101.97%. We kind of had a dope living. We kind of have a dope living arrangement. Yeah, we do. I think it's super. It's a very blessed situation, given the value proposition that we're getting. Given the fact that all bills paid, it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom house. It's an actual house.
One bathroom. You said bedroom twice.
Oh, two bedroom, 1 bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
No, my bad. 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. And it's just
A
I love this house. I think it's great. I think eventually we will be looking at either buying a home or just moving to somewhere a little bit nicer if our income goes up. But as a whole, I just think we're in such a blessed situation. I don't mind. We could live here for a long time. Um, but yeah, so 1250 every month, 50,000 a year. It's honestly not bad, and it's in the percentages of our income. Um, oh my bad. It's 27.78, and they say you want to keep it about 30 to 33%. If you can get lower, that's great, which is why we're at 27.78. And if our income goes up, because our income has gone up and down pretty frequently, but for me at least with our housing, if we can keep it around that 27 to 30%, I'm quite fine with that. But I think it is important for you to note for your budget, how much are you paying for your housing? And I'm fully expecting Lauren to put in the chat that she's paying $12.50 because I just know her humor. I think that would be silly. But I do. It is important to note that in your budget, if you're looking at me when I have 2 bedrooms and also 1 more bedroom, okay, all right. For
So funny.
I need to get a water real quick. Ugh. But yeah, so in your budget, how much are you paying for housing? I think housing is one of those things where if you're renting, as people's incomes go up, they feel that some compulsive need to just spend more on housing. They think they deserve a nicer place. I don't have a dishwasher. I was on the phone with my mom earlier, and me and Lauren were talking, and we just pointed out that if we buy a house, I want to have a dishwasher because that's just a luxury I haven't had in a very long time. And honestly, I'm fine with it. Like, it's annoying to have to hand clean my dishes the whole time. But at the same time, we're, again, in such a blessed living situation that I don't really mind it. But ask yourself, how much are you paying for your life? If you're making $6,000 a month, but you're spending $2,500, $3,000 a month on rent, you might be in a low cost area to live in terms of like groceries and necessities. But if you're spending all your money on this super like swanky place to live, it's just not worth it. And so we'll go back to my budget. I just wanted to challenge you to actually consider where you're living, and to consider, is the housing that you're in affordable for where you're at? Are we still in a renter's market right now? Yeah, I think we are. I think the political climate might change our situation to the point where perhaps the housing market comes back. I still think rates are far too high, but I know that Trump is, and not to get political too much, but I know that he's trying to pressure Jerome Powell into lowering rates. He doesn't have the authority to do a whole lot, but he can at least make his life a little bit miserable. If he lowers rates, mortgage rates should go down. I don't think we're going to see super low, like 1.5 to 2.5%, like we've seen on some mortgages, like at the peak, or at the lowest. But he said the president's name. How do I ban a moderator? Can I? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I do think it's definitely. I think at this point, renting just seems to be the way. And regardless of what the market's doing, I've always had the opinion that if you're in a position to buy a house and you want to buy a house, buy the house. If you spend your whole life waiting specifically for the right moment at the right rate, you're just not going to make it very far. And quite frankly, if you're in a financial position where you can put 10 to 20% down and you can focus on building equity in your home, and you can house your kids in a good living situation, you can focus on school zones, or you can be closer to work or be in a nice city or a walkable city, whatever your goal is, building equity in a home is still how most millionaires build up that net worth status. And for me, I don't think right now it is important for me to own a home, which is why I'm perfectly fine with renting. And even if that number, if it was $1,500 a month, I would be annoyed, but it wouldn't make me go, all right, now I need to buy a home so that I'm spending $1,500 a month on a mortgage. Renting is buying you time. It is paying for the time and the energy to live your life the way that you need to live it. And if you're utilizing in other areas, renting is just fine, in my opinion. I see no issue with it. But that brings me on to the next point. Amount. I want to talk about groceries for a second. So I don't know your income, I don't know your life situation, but I specifically want to talk about groceries because I do think it is one of the few budget items that you could literally wave your hand and slash it down by fractions, okay? Because here's my thing. When I first started tracking how much I spend on food, one, I was horrified by the number. Oh, the stream dip out for a sec.
Yeah, she's lagging.
She back. I don't fully know why it does that, but it does it about every 25 minutes. Are we better now, gang?
She has to take a breath.
Are we better now, Ka?
Ew.
I don't know.
Look at that.
Or is it looking good?
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't believe you. Let me check this.
Fine. I'm looking at it.
Let me check. I gotta check.
Whatever.
I gotta check. Need to verify that my mod is not lying to me. All right, you didn't lie to me. Okay. As I was saying, I'll go back just because I don't know what it missed or when it cut out. But so the next topic that I want to talk about is groceries, and so I'll show you my budget real quick. We spend 10% of our income on groceries, or $450, and this category specifically, and the reason I want to talk about it is because I think this is one of those categories where you could just wave your hand and all of a sudden you're saving boatloads of money. Because I think us as Americans specifically, we just have this habit of we want what we want and we want it now. And when it comes to groceries, we'll go to the grocery store and we'll just throw everything. We'll throw everything in the cart. Also, do y'all call it a cart or a buggy? Wait, what do y'all call it, a buggy? I always called it a buggy. Anyway, so yeah, with groceries, I specifically have always found that for me, when I started tracking how much I'm spending, it's a cart. No, it's not. I started finding a shopping cart is what you do at like TJ Maxx. A buggy is what you use at a grocery store.
Why are they different?
They're different.
What?
Put it in the buggy. Anyway, I'm curious what Zayden would say. But yeah, so specifically groceries, all that kind of stuff, you can save a lot of money because for me, I noticed very early on when I started tracking how much I was spending, I noticed that my spending reflected, I would go to the grocery, I go to the grocery store and I would spend, I don't know, like $900 to $1,000. And then also I would be spending that same amount eating out at restaurants and fast food, mostly fast food. And I just found that, just now, like in the past few months, I've cut my food budget down by like 70%, just because I'm a little bit, and also I'm healthier, because of this. I'm eating healthier, and I'm much more happy now eating at home. I'm actually, what am I answering? Do you call it a cart or a buggy? Like the shopping cart that you use at the grocery store, or the buggy? Like, do you call it? What do you call it? You Italian, Pennsylvania, Louisianian. Anyway, Louisianite. Anyway, yeah. So just with groceries specifically, answering, yeah. With groceries specifically, I've just found that if you're going to spend money on food, I want to keep it below 10%. Now, I also understand that there's a level of income and a level of lifestyle. Obviously, I'm paying for food for two people. So we are paying, I'm sorry, please don't hit me. We are paying for food for two people. And so it's going to be a little bit more. But I think for one person, and I think there's got to be a little bit of it's a caboose. What did you just say? It's a caboose. A caboose? No, you're lying. You don't call it that. Anyway, I do think for one person, if you put a little bit of strategy to it, you could probably get your grocery bill down to 300. I don't see a world where that's not possible. I know it can be a struggle and it's going to be an adjustment. I don't think it's going to be easy to do it in 1 month. I do think it does take time to adjust to. But for me specifically, we've gotten to the point where 450 is kind of our stretch goal right now. Last month, I believe we hit slightly over 500, and that was with a few mistakes. I will also say part of our grocery budget, we do lump in the fact that we have Walmart Plus, and I really love Walmart Plus. If you are an immediate, or if you are in a medium income group, you're not like pinching every penny, but you're also not like balling, then I highly recommend Walmart Plus. And even if you're balling, I recommend it. You get 10 cents off every gallon. You get free delivery, whether it's shipping or delivering to your house. It's just so good. You also get, I think, Paramount Plus. You get like a bunch of free Burger King for some reason. It's just overall, I love Walmart Plus. And so for me, I really like it. You can handle what I actually call it.
I'm assuming he means can't.
Yeah, I'm assuming he means can't, but he is illiterate. Yeah, so for me, I really love that app. I specifically like the feature where you're doing the delivery or even the pickup because you can map out how much you want to spend before without having to set foot in the store, and you get the items that you need. And so Lauren and I both have the app signed in on my account, and whenever we run out of something, we just throw it in the app. You know, if we run out of ground beef, we just throw it in the app. And then whenever we're ready, whether it's ready in our budget, I get paid, or we've run out of too much stuff that we need to go ahead and purchase more, we communicate about it, and we just place a delivery order for whenever one of us is going to be home, and then we just grab it and put it away. I will say there's some precautions you need to take. I always try to do it during the daytime. I try to set it far enough out where it's free delivery and I don't have to pay $5 or $10 to rush the delivery. And I try to tip the person at least $5 to $10. And so I try to make my orders big enough that that's justified, because that can add up. You know, if you're delivering every day or every 2 or 3 days for these small grocery orders, you're going to end up paying, $20 or $40 extra in tips that you didn't really need to. And so, yeah, that's just one thing. For me, focus on your grocery budget. If you can get down, you don't have to meal plan everything. You can have a little nuance to it where it's like, maybe today I'm going to have eggs and oatmeal. The next day I'm going to have biscuits and sausage. The next day I'm going to have pancakes. The next time I'm going to have a full, American breakfast. Like, you can have fun with it. And you don't have to be as extreme. If the rest of your budget is balanced, if this is an area that's important to you, I think you could very easily, spend a little extra in this category if that's important to you. But for me, I just don't like overspending on food. And so, for groceries, I just try to keep that as low as possible. But we'll kind of breeze through the rest of these now. But I just wanted to specifically focus on that one because for your budget, if your goal is to really, save a lot of money, groceries is a very quick place to start because you are in total control of how much you spend. That brings me to necessary shopping. I split the two up between groceries and necessary shopping because I have found that if I limit the necessary shopping, and I'm talking like, dish soap, toilet paper, deodorant, toothpaste, all that kind of stuff, if I limit it, what I've noticed is $50 is a lot, and it's a lot more than I actually do spend in a month. But if I give myself that budget, I end up and I go buy $50 worth of toilet paper, and then I just have toilet paper for like 6 months, and then I end up going and buying $50 worth of paper plates, forks, and spoons, and napkins, and now I have lunch and stuff for the next 6 months, and then I go and I buy $50 worth of soap and toothpaste, and I have soap and toothpaste for the next like 2 weeks. I'm just kidding. It's just so overpriced, that kind of stuff, but. Anyway, yeah, so for me, I really appreciate that budget because it gives me the options to actually spend on necessary stuff. And then health is $250. This is high, but when can the business buy me a keyboard? It can be a tax write-off. We're actually negative in the business account right now. I'm just kidding. Health 250. This is higher than normal, and that's just because Lauren is pregnant. We're having a baby. Health costs are a little bit higher. Copays, max out of pocket, stuff like that. So we've just budgeted 250. We try to keep it in that range. And so it will probably be higher, but I try to limit it that per month so that we're really making a dent in it and we can afford these appointments and we can afford anything with it. But at the same time, we're not pulling out of savings and we're not going crazy overboard on bills that don't really collect interest, but we can continue to manage it. Subscriptions, $50. I have cut every subscription out of my life besides Adobe. I pay for Photoshop and Premiere, and that's so I can build this YouTube channel, which, by the way, guys, if you are enjoying this content and you are enjoying what we do here, please drop a like and comment down below, and be sure to talk in the chat and also subscribe if you guys are new. But we'll move on to the next thing, which is going to be gas. Oh, that voice crack. Oh, that was spicy. Yeah, gas, $2.50. And so, yeah, we spend almost exactly $2.50 every month on gas, and that's between Lauren and I. Most of that is because I live 30 minutes away from my job, and so it's an hour round trip every single day that I work, and I typically work 5 to 6 days a week. And so I'm driving a couple hundred miles a week. And so I'm putting a lot of gas in it, which is also where having Walmart Plus, as I mentioned earlier, having Walmart Plus has been super helpful. 10 cents a gallon. We only get our gas at Walmart because it's already cheaper than most places in town. And then if we go to Walmart and we save 10 cents a gallon, we're saving a lot of money. And so there's probably more ways to strategize this. I've been trying to focus on a newer strategy for this to see. I know that the PayPal card has some advantages on this. And I'm trying to arbitrage it as much as possible because, again, you are in control of what you spend. You are your biggest villain, but also your biggest hero. And so I think if you can focus on controlling the variables of your life, you got to have somewhere to live. You can try your best to control that. That's difficult, but especially the older you get and the more difficult your situation becomes. But if you can really focus on having a situation where your rent is reasonable, and you can keep your groceries affordable, you can still eat healthy and 3 square meals a day with some snacks in there. I have my fancy iced coffee every morning. I love it. But I try to keep my groceries reasonable by planning. And somebody actually said, I remember listening to a podcast the other day, and this guy said, it's really simple and really hard to live a life like this. And meaning, building wealth, but also feeling poor, if that makes sense. And it's real easy. And it's just, we say no. We say no to certain things. For me, I say no to fast food a lot. And as Lauren is walking in with a burrito that we got from Chewy's. I'm just kidding. It is leftovers. And I actually kind of wanted that. I wanted your leftovers. Too bad. Okay. Yeah. So for me, I've just kind of cut, I listen to ads on Spotify. I listen to ads on YouTube. I use ChatGPT as my calorie tracker, my gym friend, like my gym tracker, and my I don't know why I said friend. I was thinking my fitness pal, but then I said gym friend, and now it's weird because it's AI. My gym friend. But yeah, so I try to cut out all subscriptions in that way, and I try to limit what I can. So gas, I want to save money as much as I can there. Restaurants, I want to cut that as low as possible. Necessary shopping and groceries, I want to cut those as low as possible. Because there are other areas I want my money to go to, and we'll continue to get to those. So gas, as I said, is $2.50. Car insurance, this month was very high. It was $551.90, but that is specifically because you can actually see last month it was $334.91, and then now going into August it's going to be $280. And so, yeah, as you can see, car insurance is going to be a lot lower because I made an extra payment. And I don't always advise doing this, but for me, I wanted to do at least one extra payment to lower. I told ChatGPT. I told you ChatGPT would replace me. Who are you again? I'm just kidding. I pay a little extra to car insurance to get that payment down because I wanted it to be a lower percent in my overall budget. And July, I have a little bit more disposable income. As I said, I'm having a kid here in the next any day now, honestly. And I want to get my bills as under control as possible. And one of those is car insurance. And so I wanted to make an extra payment so that I can just have that bill as low as possible. But I also want to be conscious of the return that I'm actually getting. And so with car insurance, there's no interest. You're not making any money off of it. You're just spending money that could be in the market. You're spending it in in the present so it doesn't get spent in the future, if that makes sense. And so I think there's a perk to doing it reasonably, but paying for like a year's worth of car insurance, unless you get a discount, doesn't really make sense. And so I've already gotten it as low as I possibly can. I'm just paying it a little bit extra so that it spreads out over all those payments. And so then that brings me to restaurants. Restaurants is zero. Entertainment is zero. It's probably not going to be 100% zero in terms of restaurants and entertainment. We go to the movies once. A thing I love about people like Ramit Sethi is he says cut mercilessly on the things you don't like spending money on and spend extravagantly on the things that you do. And I really like that philosophy. I don't always agree with all of his personal finance mantras, but that one specifically, I want to spend, frivolously and extravagantly on the things that we enjoy. And for me, I don't really enjoy restaurants anymore. I enjoy the people I go to restaurants with. The people I go with to restaurants. That's how I should have worded that. And so for me, I don't really have any plans in August to eat out because I will have a newborn baby. I probably will not be leaving my house very often. Or if I do, it's just to go see family. It's not to go out in public. And so I probably just won't be spending a whole lot of money at restaurants. Same thing with entertainment. In the month of August, I probably will not be going to the movies or renting any shows or paying for any streaming services or anything like that fairly often. However, on a normal month, like if we go back to a different day or a different month, entertainment we budgeted 50. I know that specifically in other months, sometimes we want to consider, just going out to the movies. When movies come out, like I really want to see Superman. I might wait for it to just become digital, but I really would enjoy watching Superman. And so things like that, while they're important to me to have the experiences with friends and family, I don't want to over budget in this category because what I've noticed is if I don't put anything in the category, I spend less than if I put, necessary shopping is a good example. I put $50 in the necessary shopping category because inevitably I'm going to need toilet paper, toothpaste, all that kind of stuff. But I end up spending the whole $50. If I don't do that, I might spend like $10 a month, maybe 20. But I wouldn't be able to build up this kind of pantry, this cachet in my house of I just have the stuff that I need when I need it, and I don't have to always watch that many transactions go in my bank account. I can just, if I can go to Sam's and I can buy all this one item, but a lot of that one item, and then just store up on it, I feel like I'm in a much healthier position. I feel a little bit more peace of mind, and that's partly what I'm paying for. And then car maintenance. For August, I have it set to 0. Oh, wait, no, I skipped one. Fun shopping, $50. I try to do this because I understand my budget is extreme. I fully recognize that this is an extreme point of view in terms of what I'm trying to achieve. And with the fun shopping, I like the fact that there's a little bit in there. That gives me money for, if Lauren and I want to go on a date, or if I want to get, I like playing with Legos or playing cards, or if Lauren wants to get a little something, whatever it is, we have $50 of just fun money to kind of keep ourselves sane. Maybe that's a new video game on Steam. Maybe that's, a new thing for the house, whatever it is. It really gives us the option to spend a little money back on ourselves, because part of building a life like this and building a budget in this way where 37-ish% is going towards the future, if you're only living for the future, you got to learn to live for a little bit for now. And I know I'm probably in the mind, like, I'm probably not putting enough towards today, but I also don't feel that right now it's that important. I'm 22. I feel like I have a lot of life left to live, and I feel like I will live a better tomorrow knowing that I'm putting something there. And I think as I get older, this percentage, I mean, it's 1% of my spending is going to fun. I feel like as I get older, I will start pushing that up. And by the time I'm 50, it's going to be like 50% of my spending is going towards fun because I will have gotten there. And I would also say the same thing is true for like health. I'm putting a lot more money into the gym, into health, into making sure that I am physically there, buying better food, taking care of myself a little bit more. I've been going to the gym pretty consistently, losing weight, taking care of myself so that I can make it to that time. I think is important as well. But moving on to the next thing is going to be car maintenance. Now, this is an important category that you'll notice is at zero. And the reason it's at zero is because I got an oil change this month, and Lauren doesn't drive her car hardly ever. So we're probably at zero for this month. But I also do have a car fund that I pretty consistently will be putting into over the next few months to really build up to either replace Lauren's car, get tires, get new parts for my vehicle. And so for the most part, on most months, I do put in about $100 a month into car maintenance, or I will be putting about $100 to $250 into the car fund in that savings account as time goes on. But just for August, as I said, we're having the baby, so my income might dip a little bit. I just wanted to do a simple budget. A lot of my expenses are lower, and I'm just going to be at home, so I wanted to be pretty straightforward with my budget. And I just don't need car maintenance. I'm not going to need an oil change. And if something comes up, I'll pull it out of my emergency fund. Oh, it's dropping again. Are we back? Are you watching still?
Yeah. You should be okay now.
I'm okay. Okay. Yeah, so with car maintenance, we'll just continue to take that month at a time. But in August, because I don't need it, I want to reallocate those funds to more important places. And so those more important places are not the car fund for some reason. Yeah, I didn't want to put any money into the car fund this month because I'm trying to really buff up other areas. Emergency fund, as we noticed earlier, I have $11,000 in cash. 10,050 of that is in my emergency fund. Well, I want to get it to 6 months eventually. I want to take things in priority. And one of those is just going to be, obviously, as you can tell, the baby buffer fund, which is 17.34% of my income. Or in other words, $750. And so the baby buffer fund, hold on, I need a drink. I'm getting the hiccups. And I had like the worst burger from Juicy's the other day. It was honestly terrible. Or the other day, like earlier today. It was honestly terrible. But yeah, so with the baby buffer fund, putting $750 in there, my goal with the baby buffer fund is I want to build up enough cash to where I can let it sit and grow and just sit there. But if she needs anything, I don't have to worry about cash flowing it, and I don't have to worry about it pulling from our emergency fund and putting us in a more damaging position should another much bigger life and death emergency rise. I want there to be cash specifically earmarked for her safety or her enjoyment or her whatever it might be. The baby buffer fund is like, you know, if her stroller breaks and we need a new one, a medical thing comes up, we can get her taken care of. If, you know, she gets sick and I need to take off work, maybe that money can cover the income of the work, whatever it might be. I have that money set aside, and some of these things I can't predict. I don't know fully what a baby buffer fund could cover. I just know that having one seems and feels a lot better than not having one. And so that's just I'm really, you know, building it up. I think right now it's probably at like $1,300, and this will put it well over $2,000. And that my goal is $5,000 for the entire account. Because $5,000 just feels like enough to really float through anything of that scale, and it also feels like enough to where I can float through a few things and still have enough time to build it back up a bit. And if it stays at $5,000, we'll reallocate those funds again. But for now, it's just kind of where it's at. And then that brings me to brokerage of $75. That's just going to be putting in VOO and VXUS. However, I need to allocate that between the two to keep them at about a 70-30 split. And then Roth IRA, $600. I do this every single month to max out my Roth IRA early. Now, I will say I get paid biweekly, and so I got 3 checks back in May, and I will get another 3 checks here in October. And so when that happens, I've kind of already decided based on the trajectory that I'll just max out my Roth IRA as soon as that happens. As soon as I get that 3rd check, I will have, less than I think 1,000 left to contribute. I'll just max it out. And then I will reallocate what I would be contributing back into a brokerage or savings or wherever I need to put it. And that's one thing that I think if you're looking to hit a 100K net worth, I think it's very important that you focus on allocating your money and planning ahead. That's one thing I've noticed is that when people have not necessarily even a sporadic income, but they end up on those 3 check months and they get 3 checks and they just blow it. That is an opportunity for you to get ahead. That is, you have 2 of those a year because you get 26 checks, but there's 4.3 weeks. There's going to be 2 months a year where you're going to end up ahead. You're going to have an extra check. That's where you can get ready with your savings. That's where you can invest a little bit extra and really build into your future. That's where you can get ahead on bills. If it's car insurance, pay a little extra to get that rate down to build more margin into your life to save and invest. Because that's really where we want to be at. We want to be saving and we want to be investing. And so that brings me to my last category. But before I get there, I do also want to mention I am putting about $25 to $75 into crypto. I just haven't put that on here yet because that is a new addition that I started this month. And so I will be adding that coming in August. I'll add that to my thing as well. But then business, I put $195. That's just our split between Zayden and I to put our respective amounts based on the percentage of ownership that we have into the business so that we can continue to grow it. As I said, it is profitable. We're just trying to expedite that growth so that we can get to the machines that we want to be at. And so the 300 that we end up putting in combined covers our debt payments and then as well just a little bit extra to help fuel for future growth. And so that's my main budget. And so those are the things that I'm cutting from my budget to save faster. And finally, I want to talk about why I'm not waiting to make more before building wealth. And this is a iffy topic for some people because I know things are hard. I know both the economy that we're in. I know everyone loves blaming inflation. I know everyone says I'll get to it eventually. And quite frankly, it's just not going to work that way. A lot of us, we need to focus on how can we create margin now. I will say, if you were paying attention through this live stream, I don't have any debt. I don't. The business has a little bit of debt, but me personally, I don't have any. I have a credit card that gets paid off every month. And other than that, I don't have debt. And that's important to make a note of, is the fact that I don't have a $600 car note. I don't have $300 going to student loans. I don't have a credit card I've been paying down for 6 years. I don't have these things. I paid off my debt years ago, and I've just committed to myself that I don't want to be back in debt. And so far, I've lived up to it. It's just a principle that I have that I don't want to be in debt. I do think there is smart debt, and I think there can be good debt if you leverage it correctly. But I'm not necessarily 100% opposed to intelligent debt. It's this ongoing payment to something you did not need. I remember really early on when we got married, we bought, or this would have been right around our wedding, we bought a mattress. And it was like $2,000. It was a huge purchase. One of the biggest purchases I think I've ever made. And there was a financing option. And to this day, I just cannot imagine financing a mattress for $2,000. I just can't imagine that. But I do know that there's people where they fail to make the payments on their mattress. They default on that loan and it dings their credit. And they have bad credit now over a mattress. Like, it just, to me, that doesn't click. And so maybe you can arbitrage it. Maybe you can, maybe you can make it to where you can do the 0% interest for however long, and then you arbitrage it by putting the difference into the S&P 500 or into retirement or whatever you're doing. I understand there's ways to arbitrage it, but I don't want to play with fire because I feel like I'm going to get burned. And also, why would you play with fire when you could just light the candle and turn the lighter off, and now you have what you were aiming to get anyway? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, for me, I want to talk about not waiting to make more out of your situation. Whatever you can find. If you're under the age of 25, this cool little math thing is that if you're under 25 and you invest $100 a month, you will retire a millionaire based off past performance of the market. That is a wild thing to think. And it's just how it is. $100 a month. That's all it takes. And you put that, was it 2K? Why don't I remember? Why do I remember it being 5K? Lauren. No. It wasn't 5K.
Wasn't there some? We received 5K from someone. I
Yeah.
knew that there was something early in our marriage that had that number. In
Yeah.
it. That's what I was getting confused.
2K, 5K on a mattress. That'd be crazy. Yeah. So, me specifically, I've found that in my life, waiting till tomorrow just doesn't seem to get the job done. So for you, wherever you're at, whatever income situation you're at, if you can find 50, 100, $100, I will say a phenomenon that I've noticed in people in my life, when they start investing that $100 a month, I've realized that they don't stay at that $100 for very long. They end up finding the margin because they see the growth that is happening within their accounts, and they realize they can expedite that growth by investing more. And then they end up creating a better life for themselves later on. And I think that is just awesome. And so for me, I've taken it to heart as best I can to really be putting into the Roth IRA, to my 401k, my brokerage, all that kind of stuff, because my main goal is I want to retire wealthy enough that I can just be at peace with the wealth that I've built. And I have numbers in my head. I don't know if I'm fully ready to share those yet because it might change. But for me, at least I can see now 100K is the goal. I don't think that's going to change, at least for now. 100K by 25, that is the goal. And so if you guys have enjoyed this live stream, I know I've kind of been rambling on here for about an hour and a half, but I will probably be doing a lot. I will be doing more of these. I want to do more of these live streams. I really want to talk more with you guys and just answer some of your questions. So definitely comment on some of my videos if you guys think that topic would be a good live stream. I'd love to kind of go over this kind of stuff. I like doing these. These help with watch time, which, as you guys know, is important on getting this channel to where we need it to be at. And so if you guys have enjoyed this live stream, be sure to drop a like. I'm going to leave this up as a video if you guys really do enjoy rewatching this kind of stuff. I know I love listening to VODs and just kind of rewatching it just in the background while I play video games or edit or stuff like that. So, but as I said, guys, if you have enjoyed, drop a like, comment down below that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.